got 7 o'clock. Could you all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming for the July 8th board meeting. Summertime is here.
Yes, indeed.
All right. I guess we have a special guest presentation.
Yes, we do. Chris Schaefer.
That's what you're doing here.
That's right, it's a surprise, thank you, Rick. I'm Chris Schaefer, 283 Victory Hill. As you may be aware, I'm involved a little bit with something called Project Lifesaver. Project Lifesaver was launched a little over 3 years ago, and it is an advanced search and rescue team designed specifically for those with cognitive conditions like Alzheimer's, dementia, autism, Down syndrome, any condition that is coupled with that propensity to wander, which many of them have. So the first thing I did when we got involved, we were trained, there was a group of 7 of us trained in early 2021. I talked to Rick Miller. He came running over there on day 1 before we were even established, just to check out the training and to see what it was about. So immediately we had interest from this community. After that, after we had our team trained, we started to understand what it was about and what we'd have to do. I then met with Ken Roselle and Paul Forbes, and we talked about what the program did, how the community might be able to help, and they were immediately on board asking what they could do to help support that. They gave us a donation that allowed us to purchase 2 transmitters that are part of the program, the things that the clients wear who are enrolled. Next thing we did is we talked to the neighborhood watch team, who was equally interested in about what they could do to help this program. Not just, and this isn't just for Heritage, this is for all of Putnam County. This is a county organization. Right after that, the neighborhood watch team donated $1,200, which allowed us to purchase a receiver, which is the device that picks up the signal from the transmitters that our clients with. So before we even had a client enroll, we had immediate interest and support from this community. Today I'm not here asking for anything. I'm here to let you all know that because of the support that you've given our program, Ken and Paul and Rick and Neighborhood Watch and April, Jeff Brooks and his fire department, I want to report that we've gotten over 41 members on our team, 13 of which live right here at Heritage Lake. 13 of our team, almost a third of our team, lives right here. It's been fantastic. Your support has allowed us to grow and support other areas in this county that didn't have the financial or the resource support that we all had. So what I'm here to do today is to officially recognize Heritage Lake, Property Owners Association, as well as the Neighborhood Watch, as designating Heritage Lake a Project Lifesaver community. And what this means is, because of your help, because of your support, you have allowed this program to grow, and because it's grown, we're able to support everybody in the county with it. So I talked to April and Ken about this last week, and there's going to be some signs placed around different entrances in the community that say Project Lifesaver Community, and that's part of the recognition. So this is from the Project Lifesaver International Organization. So Ken, if you want to come up here, April, if you want to come up here, I would like to present this certificate to you.
There you go.
So the next steps is Ken has ordered the signs that will be placed on 4 different entrances into this community. Once they arrive, I'm going to gather that 13-member team, and that includes Jeff and 4 other members of the Floyd Township Volunteer Fire Department. We're going to get a team picture with the sign and the award because I'm going to write an article for the banner graphic, so our community is going to be recognized as kind of the gold standard about what you can do for this program in your own community. So You guys set the bar real high, and I'm proud to be part of this team.
Thank you very much.
Thank you both.
Thank you, Chris. Hopefully, the community recognizes the fact that without Chris Schaefer, this wouldn't have happened. And we sure recognize the hard work that both Chris and Darcy do for this neighborhood. And they always have done for this neighborhood ever since they moved here. So thank you, Chris. Okay, announcements. Clear Creek Conservancy. Dwayne?
Queen Kelly, 282 Baker's Landing. Our next meeting is 7/25 at 10 o'clock at the building. Also, we should be rounding up the construction this month. Should be done before the end of the month, but you know how that goes. Sometimes it takes a few days longer than they planned, but there's just a few little items that need to be done. Basically, what they've been doing the last 5 weeks is rehabbing some of the old equipment. And all the new equipment has been in service. Gave us a chance to rehab the old equipment, so everything should be in A1 shape, we hope, by the end of this month. Also, I said last month about the Clear Creek would like to work with the Putnam County Mural Committee and see if we could get murals painted on all of our big new concrete walls over there. I had an idea how I thought it might work, so I talked to the expert. I talked to Rick Miller, and he put it online, and we had quite a few people sign up that they were in favor of it. Now, I personally want to thank Rick, and also for the Conservancy, I want to thank Rick for helping us out with that, because he made it happen in a way that we probably couldn't have. He gave me the printout tonight of all the people that have signed up, and I'll be taking it to the mural committee this week. Thank you.
Question. Do you know if it gets approved for a mural, how will it be decided what the mural is?
How it's worked in the past, I think, I know it's how it worked when they did the silos. They had 4 or 5 different murals, and people, they had them like down at the first Friday, they had a tent up. You could go by and pick out which one you want.
Vote on.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We can't tell them what mural to print, but they will have, they've done in the past, they've tried to do something that fit in aesthetically with the building they put it on, or the building, the one on the barber shop in Greencastle, sort of the history of Putnam County. And they're doing 7 more this summer around the county.
I just think it would be cool if there were some options and we got to vote, pick the one that it goes up. I think that would be good for the community, so.
Well, I'll see what, they're in charge of it, I'm just begging. Thank you.
Thanks, Wayne. White Township Fire Department, Jeff?
Jeff Brooks, Floyd Township Fire Department. For the month of May and June, since I went here last month, we had 81 runs. That brings us to a total of 171 runs for the year, which is about 3% more than last year for the same first half of the year. So we're running right along the same schedules. Same schedules last year. Had a very successful no confrontation traffic, blocking the dam, no complaints. A few people drove off fast, but nobody complained or cussed our people or threw things at us. One guy did pee in our bushes, but we're talking about that later. So good weekend. Appreciate the community for supporting the fire department. Our golf cart gang donated $643 just through the golf cart crew that they donated. They threw in the boots as we carried them around. So, thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Neighborhood Watch, April Land.
I just wanted to announce, April Land, 157 Lincoln Hills, to announce that the Neighborhood Watch purchased the 4 signs that are going to be posted for the Project Lifesavers. There are 4 different entrances around the main entrances around the lake. And we have been working with Sheriff Ball and his deputies. They have been present at the Neighborhood Watch meetings. So we appreciate that. And that's all. It's been pretty quiet.
Thank you, April. HLCS, Rick.
One problem to report, can't print them fast enough. They keep flying off the shelf.
There you go. Well, I think A&E might have one of the reasons why they keep flying off the shelf. Planning Committee has the same problem with the plans out here at Heritage Lake. Okay, thanks, Rick. Hellneck is Donna, Jan's back there.
Jan Solis, 65 Gettysburg.
Thanks, Jan.
Just to remind everyone, the Booker Run will be coming next month, very soon, on Saturday, August 17th. We've extended the time of 1 hour because we have a lot of participants and need time for everybody to get to the various docks. And speaking of docks, we do need more dock hosts, so we're hoping that people can come help with that. So the possibilities might be people that could, if you're not on a dock or don't have a dock, you could come maybe use the clubhouse dock. I'm not sure that's taken yet or spoken for, but possibly. But anyway, there's some other options even if we can't find on the water spots. The poker run actually runs itself from noon to 5, and then in the evening we're going to have food trucks and a concert that evening. So we hope everybody will come out with that. We're hoping for great weather. Actually, we're hoping within the noon to 5 time there will at least be a window that most people can get everywhere. Sometimes we've had some rain issues. Most of the time we've not. So hopefully the weather will be cooperating. Their flyer is actually in the July highlights. Thank you, Rick, for what you've done to help us get that in there. I'm thinking we will have flyers available soon for here and for the marina. And we'll be putting the 2 trophies there as well. Because we will have the best decorated boat again, as well as the best decorated dock or best dock. Thank you.
Thanks, Jan. POA Security, Sheriff.
How are you?
Good.
Appreciate the opportunity to come up again. Came up last year, and then when we lost Ken up here every month, and the chief deputy's mad at him because last month he came up with his family to Psalms for dinner, and they said, "Hey, I've got this every month, and we're going to go to dinner every month." And I said, "Well, I got to go once, so at least." So, great opportunity. Appreciate to meet with you. Like I said, we've been working with the Neighborhood Watch with some concerns that they've brought to us. And we've been working with the prosecutor's office on a couple of those issues, including trespassing. There's a new July 1 law about law enforcement cannot be the agent for property owners for trespass, so you have to have an employee or an agent do the communication. No longer can law enforcement do it. There was a Supreme Court ruling last summer. I've got a copy of it if anybody wants to read through the Indiana Supreme Court ruling about that. But dealing with some issues like that, and anything you need, let us know. Like I said, we'll be here every month now as an open line of communication, that you'll have somebody here, minus, something that goes wrong. Like tonight, we have 2 merit deputies on the road for all 750 county miles. That is county roads. So we'll do the best we can to get in front of those 11,900 front doors that we cover every 24 hours because us and Greencastle are the only 24-hour law enforcement in Putnam County now. So it's, but we'll do the best we can. Like I said, biggest sense of communication between the Neighborhood Watch, or just reach out to us. Ken was always a great asset to have as a line of communication because he would always bring it back to us and our supervisors. We'll be here now, and then, like I said, just reach out to us. We're definitely available. Gave the numbers to Rick Miller every month, the call numbers. Do you read those off every month?
Normally do, yeah.
Okay, great. I've got those for you, I'll go with those.
It's a good way to,
With my-
because we record these meetings, it's a nice way to keep the community,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Heritage Lake June calls, let's see, 9/11 hangups, 3, administrative signal 30, extra patrol request 2, alarms 1, that's good, it's down. Animal bite 1, cardiac arrest 1, civil matter 1, domestic disturbance 1, fraud 1, law enforcement assistance 2, lockout public assistance 2, suspicious persons activity 2, traffic accident with injury 1, traffic crash with personal or property damage only 1, trespassing unwanted persons 2, and warrant or paper service up here is 2, and traffic stops 3.
Thank you.
Yep.
Couple of questions, if you don't mind. The first, can you send me a copy of this also?
Yes, we created, our goal is to get it out the day of the meeting, so we'll get it to Rick and you at the same time.
My next question is, do we have any flock camera information?
No, other than they're both up and they're being used, but I don't know that we have any.
I was real curious about the one on the south end of the lake. I mean, that's,
Email me what you're interested in information-wise, because I don't know how much data mining we can actually do. I know one of your cameras has already been used in an investigation of a crime, and it helped out tremendously. And that's the way they're used. They just sit there and take them. But that's the way I get it. But do you, and reach out to Captain Nally or Biggs, because those two guys will have, to see what we can mine off of them. I don't know what's naturally generated and what we have to go dig it. Hopefully it's naturally generated, you know.
because the one up on 36, I mean, they can go west, they can turn north, south. But the one, I noticed where the one was at south, I mean, they pretty much have to be heading into Heritage Lake. So that was the one I was kind of concerned.
Yeah, hit those two up if you don't get the answer you're looking for.
Okay.
Then let me know, but, I don't know what information automatically comes off of.
Okay.
Thank you.
Paul, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Since he's here, it would concern him a little bit. I understand what you're saying about the not being able to trespass people. So I walked down to the lake to tell somebody you can't fish here, they don't have a POA card. And they punched me first. Do I hit them second or call them first?
I'll address the trespass issue here in a little bit, the procedure for that.
Okay.
It's been a discussion. I had the discussion with the sheriff as part of the prosecutor's office, but I'm also addressing it here as a board member of how the community should address that and deal with it.
I think he was
Okay.
joking about punching you.
Oh, yeah, no, but I mean, like punching, yeah, but I will address it. I ignored the
If you know
punching.
Jeff, he wouldn't play.
Yeah.
That wasn't funny.
We recommend de-escalation and
The punching, that's on you.
De-escalation at all times.
I would have somebody behind me with a camera and get punched first. All right, presentation of agenda, everybody okay? Board? Take a motion to approve the board meeting minutes of June 10th and the operation meeting minutes of June 24th.
Motion to accept as written?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, treasurer's report, Mr. Barrow.
Okay, treasury report for the month of June, we had total income of $218,472. We had total expenses of $184,519, which gave us a net income of $33,954. Year-to-date, January through June, our net income is, our total income is $1,084,458. Expenses are $852,879, which gives us net income year-to-date of $231,580. In terms of cash, our short-term cash available is $882,313. We have investments of $217,408, which gives us total available cash at the end of June of $1,099,721.
Thanks, Dennis. A&E report, back to you, Dennis.
All right. Okay, A&E approved projects for the month of June. We had 8 new homes. We had 4 non-waterfront fences, 1 deck, 1 detached garage, and a dock extension. And just for giggles, I went back and since the first of the year to kind of give everyone some perspective of what the A&E committee has accomplished year to date. They've approved 88 projects and 37 new homes out here in 6 months. And I think if I was to do the same analysis and go back a couple of years, we got a lot more new homes out here.
Okay, thanks, Dennis. Campground, Rick Stevens, you have anything?
Next meeting, July 20th.
July 20th?
Yes.
What time?
10 a.m.
Thank you. Jeff Blaze, you have anything for cleanup?
No report.
Okay. Rick Olson, government?
Rick Olson, 51 Mill Springs. The only thing I have to report is that the county council did approve the wheel tax / surtax. So it's kind of a good news, bad news thing, I guess. The surtax for passenger vehicles, I understand, will go up $25, and I think larger ones maybe up to 40 more. But that'll bring in about $1.3 million to the county, and the only thing they can use that for is road repairs. So that's certainly good news, and hopefully we'll get some more roads repaired as well. So that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Rick. Clean water before the lake. Do you have anything for clean water today?
Just one comment. Nothing particular to report, except, Ken, I know that you're very busy leading up to the Feast and Ski, but afterwards I hope we can do our next water testing. I would recommend a sample in the East Fork, the North Fork, and the main body, and particularly request that it's the E. coli test, which is what we normally do, but a couple of years ago they did something else that was a little more convoluted to interpret. So E. coli tests in those locations if possible. Thank you.
What was the 3 locations? East Fork,
I would say,
main body?
kind of in the middle of the East Fork, middle of the North Fork, and the middle of the main body, just kind of
Okay.
a general testing again this year.
Lake Committee, Rick, are you gonna do the Lake Committee?
Kent, do you want me to do it? Or you got it?
All right. Just wanted to make sure. Just wanted to make sure, you know, I know you're on some kind of a sabbatical here. I didn't want to raise too much.
Ken Hoops, 150 Gettysburg. First and foremost, the Feast and Ski is 2.5 weeks. Feast, Ski, and Fun event is 2.5 weeks away. It is by far the best thing we can do for the lake from a committee standpoint. It is our single biggest fundraiser for the day. And again, we'd like a special recognition to York Automotive Group, who has once again come on as our title sponsor. So we're excited to have them on board as well. We'll have boats on display. We'll have a rock climbing wall for the kids. We'll have bounce houses for the kids. And to kick things off, we're changing the schedule a little bit. So for those of you who are early risers, at 6:30 in the morning on Saturday, Feast and Ski, we are kicking off a kids fishing tournament. And the kids will come in and start weighing with boats like it's a true Bass Classic kind of atmosphere. They'll come up, we'll have loudspeakers going, we'll have music all day, but they'll come in and they'll weigh the fish. They'll get prizes for that. We're gonna try to have about 12 to 13, maybe 14 boats if we're lucky. But we've already got kids signing up, so we're excited about that. We're also gonna start early with an 8 a.m. pickleball tournament. That's gonna go round robin pickleball at 8 a.m. at the courts. And we're going to start our food service at 1 o'clock. water slides, games, and then the on-site auction items will be in the basement here of this building. We're gonna have that, the online portion of that auction will be shut off at 5 o'clock, I believe. And then we will go to a live auction and announce the winners.
Kent,
Yes,
the online shuts off at noon and all bidding stops at 5.
okay. Correction. Second what he said. 2 o'clock cornhole tournament and kids casting contest begins. 3:30 is the ski show and a few kids ski parade followed by pro wakeboarders on display. We're gonna have the, again, as Rick just mentioned, the auction items go offline at noon. 5 o'clock is the done bidding. 5 o'clock, we have a band starting, Toxic, will start at 5 till 6:30. A second band, first time for the Feast and Ski and Fun event, 2 bands in the same night. Soul Rocker will come on at 7 and play till 10. 6:30 in the morning, 10 at night. It's an all-day event. We're gonna have a good time. We got hot air balloons that are gonna be, the hot air balloon from Remax is gonna be tethered. It's gonna be on the point or possibly based on wind, it may be up top here. The pilot of that will have to determine what's safest for us to give tethered rides. Again, it's a great time aside from the Feast and Ski and Fun event, which again, the 27th, we're all excited about that. We're also addressing some issues with the lake. We've had some concerns about buoy placement, so Ken and I will coordinate and get out there and get those repositioned. The lake committee purchased new jet ski course buoys. Those are in. Those went to maintenance today. 2 foot in diameter, there's 7 of them, I believe. So we have some spares, because just like the buoys, I'm sure your neighbors may or may not run over them with their boat. They do not have lights on them, so, you know, hopefully we make it through the season. But all in all, the lake committee is thriving. We've got a lot of new members. We're excited about the future, and always, first and foremost, is the safety of the lake. So if anyone has any questions about what we're doing on the water, off the water, or how we're contributing to the lake, please join us 4th Wednesday of every month. We'd love to see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kent. Long-term planning, is there anything
No
you know
report.
of? No report, okay. Facilitation, Dwayne Kelly, have anything?
Our meeting, Dwayne Kelly, 282 Patriots Landing. Our meeting normally would have been the 31st, but since we got all of our work done and about run out of money, we're not going to have a meeting in July. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, election committee, no reports. Managers report, Mr. Ken Rozell.
All right. Holding this position, I am trusted to make the best decision possible for this community. My first 4 years, I never heard many compliments that they were impressed about the fireworks show. I worked feverishly with the company to enhance our show. They demonstrated a lack of enthusiasm to give us a better show. That is when I searched out Mortonville Fireworks. He showed me excitement that I was looking for and giving Heritage Lake the best show that he could for the money we spend. 4 years ago, I made that change to Mortonville Fireworks, and happy I did. I hope all of you enjoyed this show again this year. One thing I did find out was that we spent about $3,000 more for our fireworks show than what Greencastle did. So I would say we probably have the best fireworks show in the county. In April's report, I reported 234 lots that were late in paying their assessments. In May, this number was down to 124. As of today, with the efforts of making phone calls by the office ladies, this number is down to 58, still owing assessments. A reminder, August 1st, any remaining will be turned over to our attorney for collections. To kind of mirror off of what Jeff had left, but I'd like to thank Chief Jeff Brooks and his department for their community involvement, your continuous support for the golf cart parade, along with managing the road closures. which allowed Whartonville the time needed to set up for the firework preparation for the show. Lastly, Psalms reported for June payment to the POA in the amount of $12,456 through 6 months this year. The total is $40,818. Last year, this time, the total was $38,475, and that is an increase of $2,343 year to date. Thank you.
Thanks, Ken. Just a side note for this, the assessment numbers. You have no idea, some of you have no idea what goes into that. The office ladies do a tremendous job. And if you ever want to sit and be impressed, go spend 2 hours in the office. Just sit there. Just sit there and listen to the sides that call in, how possibly non-professional those are, and the sides that return the comments very professionally. These two ladies are just dynamic. I'm so impressed with how you handle the entire community. And it shows they don't have to be anything but polite to get the efforts that they put out to give us the best possible conclusions. 58, that's amazing. We thank you so much in the office. Yeah. Okay, new business. We don't have any old business. This board is so efficient, we don't have any old business. All right, first on the agenda, Airbnb locations. This is mine. Okay, I was surprised that some people never showed to the meeting tonight because there certainly was a lot going on last month. Airbnbs, for those of you who don't know, are basically daily or weekend rentals. There are no laws that prohibit that. There are no rules that prohibit that. As a private community, we're concerned with non-community members being here for a weekend or 4 days and assuming they can use the amenities that we know they cannot use. There's a lot of there are no laws against this. Okay? We are at the moment getting ready to put in a new bylaw concerning Airbnbs. And we will have that probably by the next board meeting. We will discuss the possibilities. There are several different ways to eliminate Airbnbs as a private community. We all know there are rental properties in Heritage Lake. We can eliminate the possibility of Airbnbs by subjecting those to some rules about how long they can be here and the least amount of time they can rent a house. We know that the responsible Airbnb owners would obviously tell their people they cannot use anything but the house. Unfortunately, sometimes that doesn't get, that word is not put out in the exact terminology so that the people don't, hear what they're saying. There are some Airbnb owners out here that have suggested that they should be able to do whatever they want to do when they're here. That's not going to happen. Obviously, we have a combination of two things. The neighbors have to deal with non-owner neighbors, and the management has to deal with weekenders that are not from Heritage Lake. So if you think about those two things, it just creates more havoc to the neighborhood. We as a board and the A&E committee have received some language from our attorney. It by no means is a law, but it's language that we have been given to as guidelines to give to the A&E committee and to be approached as a board to enact a bylaw concerning Airbnbs. All I can tell you at this point is that the board is committed to looking into this very seriously, and we will make suggestions by the next board meeting. Next on the new business, the Airbnb will be old business A on our next meeting. Marine parking lot, Ken Roselle.
Okay. Has everybody got this form in front of them? I'll kind of put together. Try to go through this and explain the best way I can so everybody can follow along. During our ops meeting, I brought up about whether we should go ahead and spend the money for the marina parking lot. We got an estimate last year of $324,000 to do the parking lot. I put that in the budget, and we were going to use $264,000 of our tax credit that we anticipated to receive. We may not. I'm not convinced we're going to get it. So the question was asked when I brought it up at the ops meeting. Dennis, being our treasurer, wanted me to come up with where I felt like we could come up with the money at. Where I went down this list and to gain back the $264,000 that I don't feel like we're going to receive. I've got a list here in front of you that where I feel like some of our extra gains is going to be at. The first one was our assessment. During the time I do the budget, we do not know what our funds are, our assessments are at the time, until usually January rolls around. So I estimated at $285 a lot. It came in at $302 a lot. So based off of 2,800 lots, that would be an additional $46,600. Through half of the year, we have not utilized the assistant salary for the assistant manager that we had looked to hire to someday take my position. I put a bump in there for about $30,000. The fish stocking at $4,500 we have not spent. I listed that. I feel like this lake would be just fine if we skip that a year. Building and ground repair, I budgeted $140,000 through 6 months. We've used $1,000 of it. With 6 months remaining, I added $120,000. That could be an additional bump. The maintenance supply, I budgeted $28,000 through 6 months. I've used $3,100, and I estimated $15,000 bump. New equipment, I budgeted $25,000 through 6 months. I've used $3,800, and that was a $20,000 bump that I estimate for a total of $237,100. The difference between that and the $264, the tax credit that I estimated, there's a difference of $27,000. As I said during our ops meeting, I've studied this budget over and over and over, and with as is now, year end, we were going to be $237,000 to the good. So with taking this out and where I anticipate our budget's going to be at, I think we would be totally fine to go ahead and move forward with doing our parking lot. Just at some point in time, as they were anticipating, if they would do it, that they would do it in the fall. So at some point in time, I need to let them know to get us on the books or take us off the books. So.
If you were to ask them to project, if we waited till next year to do it, how much more they think it's gonna cost, I don't know how accurate of a number they could come up with, but if they could estimate, we think material's gonna go up 6%, or maybe, you know, who's to say they wouldn't say, you know, we'll honor that price and we'll lock it in for a year, or just to have a fallback position if for some reason we don't move forward with it. Does that make sense?
It does.
And do you-
My first
and do you know-
question would be, why wouldn't you want to do it? What is it that you don't see
Yeah,
that we couldn't do?
I just being conservative.
Well-
You know, and I appreciate you're putting this together, because that's exactly what we needed. We need to know where we're gonna get the money if we move forward with it, and this is great. So I'm not saying I'm opposed to it, I'm just wondering what the contractor's position would be, you know, if it was to wait till next year, if they said they'd do it for the same price or really close to it, maybe we could hold off. If the price would go up significantly, then it's probably money well spent if we go ahead and do it this year.
To tag along to that comment, I would just entertain the fact that one thing we don't have in these numbers is if something happens within the next few weeks for a management position, we don't have that number in here, and that number is going to be escalated into this budget. So if we knew what our projection would be next year, that may help us once we know the number we're going to spend that we didn't realize we were going to spend in 2024 for a management position. Just to let everybody know, we have been working with a recruiting outfit for several months, and we don't know if that's going to happen in 2 weeks. We don't know if that's going to happen in 2 months. We don't know when it's going to happen. We have come up with some credible opportunities that have not worked out, and so we don't know. It could happen as soon as 2 weeks from now. But, and if it does,
My only comment about that was that if that's the avenue you're looking at, then we could remove the 30,000, and I still think we're close enough to be there.
Okay.
One other point, Dennis, regarding do we do it now or later? I think if we don't do it now or soon, we're looking at some probably significant repair costs, because there are some areas down there that are crumbling. Okay? So we're going to be out of pocket for repairs if we don't do the whole thing.
I'm just concerned that if we wait too long and we start really gaining some rough terrain over there, is that what we want, having people come into the restaurant and pulling their boats in? And, you know, you can only fill a hole so much with asphalt patch.
Okay.
I think we could do it and be just fine.
I'd be curious, the contractor, if you could find out what their drop dead date is, if we want you guys to do this in October, what's your drop dead date? When do we have to commit to this? And they may say, you know, it has to be next week, or we don't have to know till the end of August. You know, it would just be nice to know.
I've got some road time tomorrow that I could give him a call for and just chat with him and find that information out.
well, when you find out that information, if we need to backtrack a little bit and use our email suggestions or our email voting system to get 2 votes, it's going to take 2 votes. So if he moves this back to, you know, we need to know by August.
Yeah.
Then we need to take care of that right away. I mean, as of right now, I'm okay with moving this to old business for the next meeting and for the first vote, and then obviously the second vote would be the meeting after that, okay? Any more discussion concerning the parking lot at the marina? All right, that'll be old business. Okay, next on the agenda here, property survey to clear a lot. Dennis Barrow, you just hogging this meeting.
Okay, what I'm going to present is some language that the A&E committee has proposed to address lot preparation. And what really this came out of was a contractor came in recently, cleared a lot, got into the neighbor's yard, knocked down some trees that belonged to the neighbors, and that's not good, obviously. And it's not the first time something similar to that has happened. So the A&E committee is proposing that the following language be introduced into the A&E rules and guidelines. It says, in preparation for any subsequent construction on undeveloped lots, property owners must have a stake survey performed by a licensed surveyor prior to 1, removing trees or shrubs, or 2, grading the property. And it's felt that if there's a current survey before they start that process, then the contractor should not be getting into the neighbor's yard. Okay?
Everybody okay with that?
So a change from what we have printed
Yeah,
in
yeah.
front of us is the on undeveloped lot.
Exactly,
between Construction and common property.
Yeah, because our discussion at the ops meeting, the concern was it sounded like if you did anything to anybody's house or any yard, you'd have to get a survey, and that's not the intent of the rule. It's just to address undeveloped lots. So that's effectively what they did. And you make a good point. The copies you have are wrong. Those are the wrong copies. I have the current copy here. But the only difference is the insertion of the undeveloped lots.
If it's already got survey stakes, does it still have to be surveyed again?
I would say no. If you got
bought a lot that was staked.
Yeah, if it was staked and you have a copy of the survey that you could show the contractor, I would think you should be good.
Anybody on the board have anything more to say before we move to a first vote on this? I'll take a motion.
I move to accept the rule as read by Dennis.
Second.
All those in favor? Old business C will make the second vote since it will be changing a rule. Okay. Next,
Okay, this has to do with
this is 306 Patriots Landing roof over deck variance. Dennis?
This is a variance request, and I'm gonna read through this. It's not too long. The A&E committee denied the proposal for the following reasons. It says the project calls for a 27-foot by 16-foot gabled roof to be built over an existing deck, second floor elevation supported by 6x6 posts, attaching to the side of the house. The final structure will not have walls. Rule 243.3 states that in no instance shall buildings be built any closer than 30 feet to the water line at normal pool. Parts of the deck and roof fall within 30 feet of the water line. The roof by itself is technically not a building since it has no walls. Attached to the house, however, it becomes an extension of that building, making it subject to Rule 243.3. The homeowner has come back with their reasoning behind requesting the variance. It says, I'm writing to formally request a variance for Rule 243.3, which states, in no instances shall buildings be built any closer than 30 feet to the water line at normal pool. The project I'm proposing involves the construction of a 27-foot by 14-foot gabled roof over an existing deck on the second floor elevation of my property, supported by 6x6 posts and attached to the side of the house. The structure as planned will not include walls. Currently, the part of the deck and the proposed roof falls within 30 feet of the water line, specifically at approximately 25 to 26 feet. The encroachment is due to the removal of some original land to build the dock, which adjusted our design from the intended 30 feet to the current 25 to 26 feet. It's important to note that the existing deck over which the roof is to be constructed is on the original plot plan. The addition of the roof does not create any new foundation or footprint, but merely provides a cover over an existing structure. Given the location of the property and the nature of the roof, it does not impede the view of neighbors. And you guys should all have copies that kind of verifies the fact it's on a peninsula. It does not impede the view of the neighbors in any way. So there again, the variance is requesting that we would approve it being 25 to 26 feet away from the water line as opposed to 30.
Discussion?
It looks like, according to the pictures, the construction has already begun, but there's not an approval.
Yeah, and I was gonna mention that. There's really two issues. Number one is we need to decide what we want to do with this variance, but also the contractor started the work before the variance was approved. And we've had discussions with amongst us board members and the A&E committee about the fact that this particular contractor has been known to break the rules in the past, and the current fine for doing this is $300. And we're questioning whether that is really enough to deter the contractor from continuing to break rules out here at Heritage Lake. So we've had discussions about the fact that if they do it again, we're going to fine them, the A&E committee is going to fine them the $300. But they've also had discussions about telling the contractor that if he does it again, that we're not going to improve any more of his projects out here. And there again, I think they've given this contractor a lot of grace in the past.
Have they made any changes to this since the picture?
Not that I'm aware
The roof
of.
looks different than it does now. Like there's a gable put on the end of it, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe I saw it wrong, but I saw it
Well-
the other day. One of you guys talked about this, but I went out and looked at it.
Yeah, I just saw this for the first time when I came in here. There was an email we received from the contractor, an agreement between the contractor and the homeowner, talking about the fact that if the variance doesn't get approved, that she promises to not require, no walls, barriers, or enclosures shall be built around or attached to the deck roof. No modifications or additions that alter the open nature of the deck roof shall be made. And I'm speculating, but I'm thinking the reason they sent this in was because they've done some additional work there. But I'm just guessing at that.
The contractor's here, so.
Yeah. I don't know.
The only additional work we did was to shore up the roof a little. It was in such a preliminary stage when it got denied. So I tried to come to the roof wasn't part of the original project. And we're doing this project and I kind of see this roof just open up to me. I'm like, wow, that's a really good idea. So I sold it to the homeowner and we tried to get into like a June meeting or May meeting and we couldn't get in. We didn't get in time. I went on vacation and my guys kind of started it. I mean, obviously bad call on all ends. I'm willing to sign something that says I won't do it again or whatever I need to do, but what we put up is just structural so the roof didn't blow over, pretty much. I mean, it was in such a preliminary stage when it got denied that I was really worried about it sitting for a month. If we got high winds, rain, anything, I just didn't want a roof falling on all the, on the house.
I'm a little confused with the statement for the variance suggested there would be no walls. And then this email said
I
something
think this,
about.
no,
The email is from the homeowner signed a contract that stated that there could never be walls put up on the, on the roof itself. We just had her sign that for, Joe Minetti suggested that we had her sign something that said she could never put walls up underneath the structure essentially. It was an existing deck that was already there. The footprint of the deck was there off the original plot plan too. And then, yeah.
So is it implied in this contract that if that action does happen, then the POA would then have legal grounds to ask that it be removed? Is that implied by this contract? Because there really is no or if included in the contract.
I guess she signed something that said it would never happen, so
I mean, if
I don't know.
someone signs something, it goes into their file.
Yeah.
If she says she's never gonna have walls put up underneath this roof structure, and someone tells us, which they always do, that they're building walls underneath this roofing structure, we pull the contract, we look in there and we find an affidavit that they signed that said they would never put walls under there. At that point, the manager would go out and say, pull the walls off. I don't know what else we could do, unless you have a suggestion. I mean, that's what we do, that's what we've done in the past. We've had somebody sign something and then go ahead and do what they wanted to do. And we've gone back and told them to tear it down.
Take it down. I would recommend next time writing that in there, or,
Isn't that in the
Take it
building
down.
plan?
you know, not just, we won't do it, but if they do it, then what happens?
Okay,
If this and that.
yeah, that's fine.
Include that verbiage.
Is there also any reason that the dimensions are different? Because on the variances, it's 27 by 16 on the affidavit or whatever this thing is that Seth provided us. It's 14 by 24.
The roof itself is 14 by 24 with a 2-foot overhang, but the overhang doesn't count in the 30-foot variance. So I guess it has both sizes in there. You know what I'm saying? Like the overhang is 2 foot on the, like the eaves.
Gotcha.
Anything else, board members?
I just want to comment on the variance itself. And this is just my personal opinion, if there's ever a decent reason to grant a variance, I think this is a pretty good one, because I think the spirit of the rule is that people don't build stuff and block people's views of the lake, and this does not, I don't see where it blocks anybody's view of anything.
I was down that cove, less than 2 weeks ago, and I can't see it.
What would the language be that you would prefer as far as, there will never be walls built under this roof line? Do we say, and if anyone from this property builds walls underneath that roof line, we are subject?
To the POA telling them to remove it. I mean,
Removal
that's
at the
implied,
expense of the
but it's not.
homeowner.
No, would that cover if they sold the house to somebody else and they
You
decided?
could, yeah, you could, but they would have to know that. when they bought it.
I have in the past put the verbiage in there that they must disclose this agreement with any future.
No, that's a good idea. That's an excellent idea. All future owners must be, this affidavit must be disclosed to all future owners of your property. Is that okay? Dennis, you got that?
I like that, I like that.
Any other discussion on the variance?
So would we want to, if the board was to approve the variance, do we want to make it contingent on them expanding this to have that additional language that talks about, you know?
No walls, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
It
they-
says no walls, but you wanted to say like POA has full authority to.
Something that I understand, and then also the language that says,
This must be
this must be,
disclosed.
if they ever sell the property, it must be
Future homeowner.
disclosed, yeah, to future homeowners.
I can get her to sign that tomorrow if that's necessary.
Would this have not been an issue if he hadn't excavated towards the house? Would this have just gone right through?
That's a great question.
I would have went through if I never started it.
Yeah, I think if the variance would have been presented, and that's really, quite honestly, that's the way I'm viewing it. You know, if it had been presented and they had never, you know, started the work, you know, I'm just kind of thinking in terms of the homeowner, you know, what's best for the homeowner, within reason.
It's just a tough one for me. 'Cause it's like,
It's,
it just,
if I can speak, to me, it's really hard to approve a variance when the first thing that was done wrong was construction began. So it's almost like we're setting a precedent that you can ask for forgiveness later. And that is such a dangerous precedent for any contractor. Certainly one that is preferred out here, preferred by the homeowners, not endorsed by any of us. But, it's really hard for me to approve a variance when just the basic A&E application was completely disregarded.
Yeah. But if the A&E committee and or the board follows through with what was discussed, letting the contractor know that, if you do it again, we're not gonna approve any more contracts out here for you. I mean, I would think that should keep it pretty honest.
So I'll ask Nina this, if there was a fine right now due to that, and then a letter too that says, don't do it anymore, you won't be working here, would that cover that?
I feel like that would help mitigate any precedent.
That would satisfy me.
Well, I think there needs to be, Nina brings up a good point. There needs to be definitely something in writing from the board and the fine. And the writing needs to emphasize the fact that the A&E committee will not approve any more plans by this contractor if it happens again. We can go through all the circumstances over the last 15 years of how this stuff happens. And eventually someone has to put their foot down. And I think that, I don't know if this is the big foot or the half foot, but a definite foot needs to go down. And I think the contractor, this particular contractor, can understand whatever we do today and tonight. Because we've been here before, and it's an ugly place to be when somebody just does what they want to do.
Well, it's not just this one. We should do that with every contractor going forward. If you break the rule, you pay the fine for that particular time, period. And then subsequently to that, you do it again, that's a cease and desist letter. That's what that's called. And cease and desist letters are effective. They really are good. So you break the rule. Here, if I'm caught speeding, I say, well, okay, I won't do it again. How about that? They go, no, it won't count. You were speeding. So that's what rules are for. You break a rule. That's what our jobs are. We deal with it. And we have to deal with it, whether we like it or not. I don't like it.
Yeah, and I don't know the exact number, but I think there's a series of fines. I think it's like 300, 500, and 1,000. I mean, that just doesn't have enough teeth for anything, to stop any contractor.
What if you start hitting the homeowner with the fine also, though, for allowing it to happen when it's not been approved?
Yeah.
I kind of agree with that, because when you find a contractor, it's understandable that that's considered a cost of business to them, and that cost of business is going to be
Passed on to the homeowner.
put back onto the client. I mean, that's just the nature of business, but if we find the homeowners independently, then they will ensure that that is not a repetitive effect.
Homeowners don't have to attend the A&E meeting with the...
What's that?
Homeowners aren't really gonna know if something's approved is the issue.
Well, that was my next question. Homeowners don't have to attend the A&E committee with the contractor, right?
One of them has to be there,
Either the homeowner.
either the homeowner or the contractor.
I understand, but I'm saying the homeowner doesn't have to attend the meeting with the contractor.
Not necessarily, no.
But the homeowner signs the.
Homeowner signs the
paperwork
agreement,
that
though.
comes to the A&E
Right.
committee.
But they
Homeowner
need-
has to sign all the paperwork that says they're responsible for everything that happens on that site. It doesn't have anything to do with the contractor. The homeowner is responsible. So, but when we find someone, we normally find the contractor.
So,
And the homeowner, quite honestly, is probably picking this contractor because they do business out here, and they assume they know the rules. They rely on their contractor to keep them in compliance.
could we just shorten the roof up so you'd be outside the 30 feet? I mean, if you just knocked 4 foot off the roof and just,
No, it wouldn't work.
why?
Cause it wouldn't cover the deck essentially. It'd be like half on the deck and if we wouldn't have taken away any old shoreline, that's.
I'm just
what-
trying to give you in a way that you don't need the variance
The
so
old-
much as
Okay, so.
comply, I'm trying to help
If
you.
we added riprap, if we added 3 feet of riprap to the shoreline that we thinned up beginning, it'd be 30 feet. And that's what I'm like, I'm allowed to add riprap to these shorelines. And I kinda got, I mean, I can add 3 feet of riprap to a shoreline.
That doesn't, riprap does not belong to the land. You can't just put riprap out and say, oh, okay, my,
Within reason, I thought you could.
there you go thinking again. That's what gets you in trouble all the time. The problem is you got a property line. That property line does not change with riprap. It's a
What
property
about
line.
the seawall that's not even part of the
Seawall
approval?
is, you go by the plats and the plots. That's what you go by.
Okay.
Somebody paid $35,000 several years ago because they decided they were gonna add the erosion that happened in front of their house.
Jeez.
So, you know, everybody has a thought process about this, but there are rules, there are plots, there are plats. So what we're discussing now is to try and move forward so that the responsible parties stay responsible. I think we have two issues here. One, do we have any more discussion about the variance?
Yeah, I'm good with the variance. I think we gotta put that as one issue and then vote on it. Then we move on to the penalty, and then we move on to the next one, which is what would the penalties be in the future? Then we need to talk about new ones if we don't think these are adequate. I think it's three
But there again,
things.
what I would suggest is on the fine and the letter that needs to go out, I would present that to the A&E committee and say, hey, this is what the board suggested. How would you like to proceed? And they would be responsible
That's
for.
the right way to go. And they'll present us with their language, and if we think it needs to be stiffened up any, or improved any, then that's the way we'll do it.
I guess my question is, the old shoreline when we started that job was about 4 or 5 feet out. We dug that out to even up the dock and kind of make it line up with the house a little. We dug about 5 foot of that shore out and hauled it off.
I would
So-
suggest that if you come up with a plot and a plat to bring to the A&E committee that shows that you are 30 feet away from that.
Well, I'm not anymore. I'm 35 feet on one side. One side of that roof, we're about 35, 40 feet. On the one little corner, we're about 25, 26 feet. So on the one side of the roof, it's about 35, 40 feet. On that far inside corner, it's about 25, 26 feet. So,
Seth,
I'm just throwing that
can
out.
I ask you a question?
Yes.
The A&E committee come up and the board approved that they put these fines together for violations.
Yes.
I have seen over and over and over and over contractors and homeowners just go to these meetings and they just pencil whip and just sign their name. Now, part of that could be on the A&E I'm not sure how much more they need to make it clear that these fines are in place, but you were quite aware of these fines, correct?
Yes.
That are in place.
Yes.
So, and I'm just asking for a future. If you were aware of these fines, why does these things continue to happen? What, I mean, are the fines not stiff enough
No,
to?
they are. I tried to get into the meeting, couldn't. My guys started it because there was 12 guys hanging out looking for something new, and they shouldn't have.
But with all due respect, shouldn't that be a communication from their owner? That, hey, we don't start anything out here that's not on the blueprint.
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna get fined. So is the fines not stiff enough to scare you? I'm just trying to figure out what
It's
to-
kind of,
to fix the big picture.
Okay, running contracting business is hard, general contractor. It's all such a crapshoot that I feel like, I don't know, it just got thrown in. It was a mistake. It was a bad mistake. And I mean, $300 would suck. I would happily pay it though, to get it passed. Obviously, that's the truth.
If the fine,
Like if you
if
have
this
like a
fi-
strike
if
rule,
this
if
fine
you guys
was,
wanna put a strike here and you
if
have a
this
strike
fine
rule,
was $10,000,
that would suck. I would still pay it, but that would suck.
if this fine was $10,000, would that communication have been a little bit more stiff to them?
Yes, if it was, even probably $1,000 would make people flinch a lot. 10,000 is a lot. 1,000 would probably put people at.
2015, 2000.
What's the permit cost in Putnam County right now?
It all depends on the size but I don't know minimum. I know I did a pool or something, it was like $400. I don't know what that would.
No, I'm talking about a house.
My pole barn 3 or 4 years ago was $300 or $400.
Oh, it's a lot more than that now.
Is it now?
Yeah, it's like, I think it's $1,200.
I'm just trying to figure out a solution.
Yeah,
So we're not dealing with this 5 years from now?
I would say,
2 years
like,
from now?
I mean, I'm not saying I've been perfect. This lake has changed so much in the past 15 years since I've been here that you used to be able to get away with stuff and now you just can't at all, which is good for the overall community. I would say the strike rule is a good, like, hey, you mess up once, you get fined. You mess up twice, you get a bigger fine. And if you mess up that third time, yeah, we're gonna deny, like with a 3 strike rule or something along with it, because that is, you're saying, like, we do 95% of our work out here. If you're gonna tell me you can't be a contractor anymore, I gotta go look for a new way to feed kids and a wife and stuff like that.
Now,
So-
that would fix the problem.
Yeah, right, no joke. Yeah.
Send the bill to the contractor's wives.
Yeah.
Yeah, she knows what she's talking about.
Yes, sir?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the variance as written here, to approve the roof with no walls. And that's to be for the life of the building. No walls for the life of the building, no matter who owns it. That's what my proposal is.
Unless the rules change or something.
No, that's my proposal.
That has to be disclosed to any future owners.
And disclosed to future owners, but no walls for the life of the building, and I'm okay with a little bit of overhang, but that's my motion. And then after that, I'm glad to talk about fines and penalties and what we need to do today on this one and going forward later. So, but I have a motion to approve this structure at this point for that, with no walls, that's the life of the building.
We abstain. We're allowed to abstain.
Sure, you can do anything you want. I hear a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor of the variance? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I am not voting.
Now we can discuss it.
6 to 2.
I'm just abstaining.
6 to 2.
2 abstentions.
2 abstain.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to abstain at this point. I think there's a little language problem.
Okay?
So I think if you do the life of the building with no walls, I think you have some grounds in the future for some lawsuits if the local rules, if any rules change, which is
Okay.
what Seth was
Okay.
discussing. I think a court is going to find that you cannot enforce that if any
Okay.
rules change in the future.
So what, we can alter it, so. that
We
would be-
can, unless there
Let's do
are
it right now.
rules changed
Correct.
that compromise the situation.
Right.
Or unless approved by the A&E committee correctly, or something, yeah, I see what you're saying.
So it,
You can come
I
up
don't
with language
think-
like that, huh, Dennis?
A&E committee.
Bring it back to us and we'll approve it.
Yeah, that-
enforcing something for the lifetime.
Yeah,
or
I
lifetime
understand.
is
I
a little
understand.
broad.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
as the guy that made the motion, I approve what you say, so it's still, we'll
And
deal with that.
is that approval contingent on his agreement with the homeowner also having language that they must disclose it if they sell the home?
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
must be disclosed.
Okay?
So do we need to just re-edit that and resend it to April?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah. Re-edit it, have her sign it, and send it to April.
okay.
So do we need an amendment to what we just passed?
I can agree to that, as
Well,
it,
no, we just passed a motion. So do we need an amendment to make it accurate?
I'll withdraw the motion and we'll redo,
Okay.
Yeah, she can amend my
Okay, so we're splitting hairs on Robert's Rules of Order here. Let's just start over with a new motion. If nobody likes it, they can sue me. Go ahead.
So moved as we discussed, yeah, I approve this with the fact that it's no walls unless there's rules change otherwise, and it has to be disclosed to the future homeowners on all purchases, so.
All those in favor? Was there a second? You seconded it. All those in favor? Same vote? 6-2 abstained. And then second approval will be next board meeting, correct? So that will be old business D.
So that's gonna take 2 votes, and Seth can't move forward until the second vote?
That's re-signed. I can't move forward until that contract says must disclose the future
No,
homeowners.
you know, us approving a variance takes two votes by the board.
Oh, okay. And
So we have to have another board meeting to get the second vote in.
Oh.
That's why I was asking,
Yep.
because
2 weeks from now?
that's not.
No, that's a month from now, Seth.
4.
Oh. It's already been sitting for a month. Okay.
That's what I was trying to ask you about that 4 foot of roof.
Oh, I see. You were trying to.
I was trying to help you.
Yeah, I see.
I was trying to help you from not having to go through this, but you just kept going that way, so it's.
Yeah,
Well,
but
the purpose for 2 votes for something like that is so if the community sees that we did this approval and they've got an objection, gives them time to come to us and object individually to board members, we could change our vote next time. Might not, but we could.
Right.
Okay.
We can't touch, do anything on the project for another month, or how does that work?
You can touch the project concerning that roof once you get a variance.
But we don't have.
You have 1 vote this board meeting, the second vote will be the next board meeting.
Is that the only thing that's pending at that job site?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
I'd hate to be at that meeting with the owner.
Yeah.
That's part of it. Anybody else? You want, is this the time we're going to?
Trespasser.
Are we're done with, we're just waiting for language to come back from the A&E committee, right? On
Yeah,
the-
and
on
then
the
we
other
can
thing?
talk about.
Okay, next one, trespass enforcement. Alyssa, you're up.
Hopefully this is fast. So there have been some questions and concerns over the proper procedure of how to trespass an individual from our community. And I'll just go over some things to clarify that. There's essentially 2 situations. First, homeowners are obviously allowed to ask someone to leave their own residence or their own property. If an individual refuses to leave their own property, then the homeowner themselves can call the police or the sheriff's department to have that person removed and possibly charged with criminal trespass for not leaving after the homeowner asked them to leave. So that obviously goes for lot owners also. If somebody's on your lot, you own a lot, you don't want them there, you ask them to leave, they don't leave, then you call the sheriff's department and they can come out. At that point, they will remove the individual and likely send up criminal charges or a request for criminal charges to the prosecutor's office. What's important is you have to ask somebody to leave and they have to refuse to leave. And then the sheriff's department can get involved. The main question we have is the proper procedure for removing or asking an individual to leave from community property that is not allowed to be there. That'd be somebody who doesn't have a POA card, somebody who's fishing somewhere they're not supposed to, situations like that. Somebody trying to go on the beach, any of the beaches that they're not supposed to be there. So any community member can ask that person to leave. Hey, you have your POA card? Are you supposed to be here? But then at that point, if they refuse to leave, we need to involve what would be known as an agent of the POA. So the agent of the HLPOA would be any board member, Ken, any marina employees while they are working, any office staff, and any security personnel while they are working. At that point, like a community member can say like, hey, this guy's fishing and he won't leave. they can contact one of the agents of the HLPOA, and we would come over there at that point and be like, hey, you need to leave. If that individual doesn't leave at that time, then we can contact the sheriff's department for further enforcement. So the important step there on community property is involving an HLPOA agent. And that would be the proper way to enforce it, and then the sheriff's department would be able to swoop in and help out if that person just refuses to leave the property. And that would be any community property.
Any questions from the board?
Keep your phones on.
Yeah.
So, Melissa, would you not be a witness on this at all?
No, that's just for our record keeping. So I have a form that the board members or the agents, I'll kind of apprise them of what to do with that. But that's just for our record keeping. We can also provide that to the sheriff's department, especially if somebody refuses to leave multiple times. Or we ask them to leave once and they leave, and then they come back another time. Then you have an added layer of, hey, this guy's been here multiple times.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I think that,
I've got a quick question about the roof. AJ brought it up.
hold on just a second.
Okay, you're good.
Are we finished with everything on this trespass? Everybody's good with that? Okay, we move into open forum. Yes, sir.
So am I technically within my rights of the 30-foot rule to finish the roof anywhere that isn't within the 30 feet? If I wanted to, I'd love to dry it in at the least, like it's just exposed to weather. If the roof doesn't hit within 30 feet of that shoreline, am I allowed to tie in the one side and finish up anything that's not within 30 feet?
Is the roof part of a plan, or is the roof part of a variance? Is the roof
You're
on the
saying-
original plan that was approved by the A&E committee?
No.
I'd say no.
Okay.
You can do whatever the A&E committee approved you to do.
And that's also why I'm not the A&E liaison, because I don't know that role, so sorry for bringing that up. If that was, I was trying to help out, like, we just shorten up the roof.
No, everyone is allowed to work on something according to the plans that the A&E committee has approved. That roof was not on the plans
I got
that
you
the
now.
A&E committee.
I thought that was
No.
approved, it was just too close.
Does the variance have to go back to the A&E or does this override the A&E? How does that work?
We've approved the variance tonight.
Halfway.
Right.
The variance does not go back to the A&E committee.
Okay.
It comes to us again the next meeting.
Which isn't the operations meeting, but it's a month from now.
Correct.
Right. So if approved, I think it was August 12th is the next board meeting. So you probably wouldn't be able to start until either that night or the 13th.
That is correct. August 12th is our next meeting.
Okay, open forum is still open. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Ken Hoops, 150 Gettysburg. Do we have land security currently?
No, it was kind of, no.
We have lake security, but not land security.
We used to, didn't
We used to, but all it was a bunch of kids that hung out at their home.
Okay.
And so we just encouraged lake security to park their boat, get out, walk the land, and do the same thing.
I thought Brian Helmer, when he was still here, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
He did land security? Did we pay him separately for that, or was that just his sheriff patrol?
No, we paid him separately.
And then, if we're witnessing, I got a question for you. Alyssa brought it up. She called us a community, Heritage Lake community. When you pull into Heritage Lake, our signs don't say Heritage Lake community. They say private. So if this is a private community, how is a parking lot, the beach, any different than my house when it comes to someone being here that is not supposed to be here? If it's private, how do you differentiate? Because you use the word community, but yet when you come to Harris Lake, it doesn't say Harris Lake Community.
It's
My
really-
deed doesn't say Harris Lake.
It's really a case law gray area, so it really is based upon what you can legally enforce in a court system. So if an individual who is a community member tries to trespass somebody who's on community property, you're gonna get into a really odd gray area in enforcement if there's a criminal case that goes up on appeal. So doing it this way just solidifies it as far as being more black and white. Yes, I think there could be support, or you could say that any homeowner who is a member of the HLPOA, who pays their dues, could potentially be an agent, but it's a gray area. And in law, we hate gray areas.
So I love gray areas, but is the gray area, is this a direct correlation to the Airbnbs?
No, has nothing to do with
Because
that.
is this a byproduct of the?
No.
Because if someone rents, if I rent my house to somebody and they go out and use the lake, are they trespassing or are they?
They absolutely could be trespassing.
Yes.
So who do we call?
You ask
An
them to
agent?
leave,
Yes, and then we call an agent.
and if they do not leave, then an HLPOA agent would come and again be like, we need you to leave. That refusal to leave after the agent asks them to leave triggers enforcement action by the sheriff's department. Because then the sheriff's department can come in and enforce it criminally. And that's a criminal case with a lot more teeth. They could come in and arrest somebody at that point.
I think the
So what
difference
you-
you're thinking is you can trespass someone from your property and then the police can come and respond to that. But a perfect stranger can't be on your property and try to trespass somebody and the police will not have enforcement when they come to that. That's the difference.
I'm just trying to correlate the what if. So I think we're gaining traction, that's fine.
What I'm hearing is that if somebody's fishing on the side of the lake and somebody goes up to that person and says, do you have a POA card, do you live here? And they say, no, but I'm gonna still fish here. And you call the sheriff's department, that person calls the sheriff's department, the sheriff really doesn't have the right to come out and trespass
It's
that person.
illegal.
Yeah.
Not the right,
It's illegal for the sheriff to come out and trespass that person. But
it's
if an
not-
agent,
But it's not illegal for them to fish at our lake.
Yeah. Yes, it is, but
What's the difference?
an agent has the authority to trespass that person.
and to make it legal
And the
so the
sheriff
sheriff's
can-
department can come out and trespass that
There's a
person.
difference in enforcing ordinances versus enforcing POA rules versus enforcing criminal statutes. And we're trying to make this a clear-cut way to enforce a criminal statute so the sheriff's department can come in and legally, criminally trespass somebody and not have that case overturned by the Court of Appeals.
Paul, do you mind if I read a couple things from this appellate court
Go ahead.
decision from last year? It says an agent means an operator, manager, or an adult employee or a security agent employed by the store, which the case was an actual property that was owned by a store. So they give a little bit of credence or definition to agent in it. And then in the back, also, there was a previous case from Gillespie that said, we have held before that a police officer who is neither an owner of the property nor an agent of the property cannot create a trespass violation by asking a patron or anybody to leave and then arrest the patron, which he refuses to do so. And this was new, so when everybody says, well, we used to do, that's 100% understandable. But they've come down on it and rewritten the law slightly for places that have fences and signs in which we can arrest. But for out here, I like what Alyssa's doing, is she's really giving you a road to go down, but you gotta go down that road, I mean, in those orders. And then it comes down to, she will tell you also, officer discretion. If they're not comfortable with it, if an officer pulls up and somebody says, arrest that guy because I work for Heritage Lake, officer may go, well, no, wait a minute. You know, to calm down, I'm not gonna let you tell me how to do my job. You can explain to me what's going on. So that, and I think the way she's doing it, she's like, I am process generated. And she's gonna get you a good process, but you better stick with it. And I'll talk to our guys and our attorney to make sure that and we've been talking on a regular basis to make sure, yeah. But it really is, there is some wordage in here that's important.
Thank you.
I've got a question to Alyssa, because I was confused. So, a neighbor, if I witness, no, I'm a bad example. If my neighbor witnesses from his property, another neighbor has somebody on his property that's trespassing, does he have to go through the process because that's not his property?
He would have to call the neighbor. Somebody would have
But
to
the
talk to
neighbor's gone, the neighbor's out of town. That's a neighbor this is a real situation. A neighbor witness and his neighbor, people on that property. How would we get that trespasser off if they said, no, we don't want to
You'd
leave?
have to call the neighbor.
So or use this form, right?
Not for a personal property, that would just be community property. So on your own personal property, there has to be verification that that individual is not supposed to be there, unless another crime has been committed or is in the process of being committed.
I'm talking about third property. I'm talking not like this. It's not the witness, it's not his property. He's witnessing somebody trespassing on another person's property.
He does not have authority to trespass somebody off of somebody else's property.
Okay. That makes that clear. Thank you.
Yes.
On another subject, do we currently have a rule that says no motorized vehicles on common properties? Yes or no?
I believe so.
I'd have to invite golf carts to go down to the.
You mean like somebody pulling up? I think it's, if I understand what you're asking, I think it states in the rules that they need to unload and take their vehicle back to the parking lot.
Yeah.
I think they are allowed to go out.
It says no motorized vehicles on property in certain areas. So, the question is when you have, people who are utilizing the common property as a racetrack for side-by-sides late at night, and they're doing laps, do we have a rule that prevents that? Because I'm concerned with benches on the beach, of them just causing some injury. You know, they're moving pretty good. So I'm just curious if we had a rule about that.
I don't know.
I'm not talking about golf carts.
Criminal mischief, maybe.
Destruction of grass.
They're noisy, but they're, 11 o'clock at night, I guess that's our noise ordinance, so I'm just curious. It's becoming, the summer especially, because you've got, schools out and kids are bored. And since they can't trespass and swim in the lake, they're finding other things to do. So, just something to bring your attention. It's happening, and that's, the basketball games that go on till midnight, I'm thrilled to death. The kids are having fun and they're playing basketball, but they don't need to leave burning their tires out of the parking lot and doing donuts in the process.
The general rules address beaches. It specifically says bicycles and motorized vehicles, parentheses, ATVs, are to be ridden on roadways and legally parked. That's under the beaches paragraph. Nothing about motorized vehicles under picnic areas. Nothing about motorized vehicles under playgrounds. So it sounds like you're describing that they're actually driving on the beach.
Yes.
Okay, well, that is in violation.
Actually, maybe behind the beach, between the chairs and the hill. Or
There's no roadway there.
There is no.
They're off the roadway, so they are in violation of our general rules as published in 2021.
Or just build the road.
that may be something that needs to be addressed, where specifically off-road vehicles and golf carts and side-by-sides can be driven on community property.
Or not driven on.
Right, right.
I thought we already had something, but.
Yeah, I
And
don't,
hope that they follow it.
right, I mean.
Well, the enforcement's the issue, that's,
Yeah.
With everything.
yeah, absolutely.
If anybody wants to follow up on that, I'd be glad to take a champion.
Then under parking, it says no snowmobiles, ATVs, etc. Other loud engine motorized recreational vehicles, whether registered or not, may be run or operated on any common area or walking path within the Heritage Lake community. Unlicensed and or recreational vehicles may be operated on public roads within Heritage Lake only if they meet all requirements of both local and state law.
Just something for you all to look into. I mean, it's obviously, they're getting more popular, there's more of them.
The rules are in there. The rules are clearly in there, so it sounds like
It
a
is.
clear violation of the rules. So that would mean the community member who witnessed it, it would be on them to either report it or to
Find an agent.
approach the other community member and ask for their POA card. I mean, any community member can approach and ask for a POA card. It's the calling the police to have them removed is where the
I don't
agent
want
would
them
come
removed,
into
I just
play.
want them to be safe.
Right, so
That's
you
all
ask them
I
for their
need to
POA card and then you inform them that they are violating the general rules, which are available on our website. You can pull them right down, you don't have to
And
carry the booklet
you want
around.
me to do that?
I mean, it's on every community member to police our own community.
Okay. All right,
Otherwise, how would you enforce it?
that's what I'm asking.
I mean, you don't have to do it,
I think if you
but
see
you send
something
your wife
that is
out
against
there
the
or your
rules.
neighbor.
Yes,
Then you ought to bring it to the people that are breaking the rules
okay.
and find out where they live, if they're under eight.
I whistle and I say, hey guys, be safe, slow down. I'd rather
What
you
would
be
you-
safe than sorry.
Just
Guess what they
tell
sent back to me,
Colton to
quote,
slow down when he
unquote.
gets home.
I
Guess what they
understand.
said, you know?
What
I don't have to
is,
guess.
what is your desire from the board right now to solve your problem?
I would encourage the board to consider teeth with rules or enforcement of rules, and how you go about that is a board issue. Do we have funds to support land security? Do we have a community involvement with the sheriff's department to say, hey, can you come do a sweep at the cutoff time at 11 o'clock at night where everything's supposed to be throttled back?
But they can't, it's not a legal issue. The sheriff's department enforces criminal rules, criminal laws,
And the
criminal statutes.
POA, I mean, you can
not rules of
submit
the
it
POA.
in writing in the complaint, as it says in the rules. And then we have enforcement procedures, once we know who the property owner or child of the property owner is that's violating the infraction, committing the infraction. Once we know that, we can send them a letter, we send them a courtesy letter, we send them a final notice letter, and Ken does the whole process.
And how many times has that happened out of curiosity?
Oh, quite a few, wouldn't you say?
When?
The enforcement letters, like when someone's breaking the rules.
You told us that you did, you read them all the time.
I mean, it's kind of the same as the,
On the water we do.
No,
Well,
just any
it's
enforcement,
kind of any
enforcing any rule, you
Yeah.
said when the cleanup committee thing came up.
Right.
and You said you write 40, 50 of those things, I mean, it's not like it's.
Oh, the property violations.
But I'm just saying, it's a rule, you're breaking a rule.
Right, it's
You
under
send
the
out a letter
enforcement
because you broke a
procedures.
rule, is
Yeah.
what she's getting at.
Those are clear in front of you, a piece of property.
Okay.
How do we find out who is on the,
I
you
just
know,
asked
right?
them, apparently.
Yeah, it just, I mean,
It's the only thing we can do.
you know, that's where I've got to, you know, you've gotta find out who they are. And if they see somebody like Kent go walking out there to address the issue, and they go, and they're gone.
Or he gets ran over.
That's right. Just like that.
Yeah, just like the rules.
And, I mean, clearly, Ken has, again, it's in there that he can suspend their, what's it called? Their privileges.
If you
as
know who they are.
homeowners. Yeah, well, we have to.
And
You don't know who they are all the time, I've already dealt with that.
Well, no, I
2 weeks
mean,
ago.
in order for you guys or us to enforce it, we have to know who the property owner is. Therefore, the person seeing the violation needs to have some sort of self-help, self-policing.
And the reality of it is, I think a lot of times, management here relies on people in the community to make them aware of violations, because we sure don't have the bandwidth to have,
security running around everywhere all the time trying to find every violation.
Paintball gun investment.
Yes, sir.
Phil McKinley, 330 Patriots Landing. Ken, did I hear you say that you might remove funds that have been dedicated to fish stocking to possibly pave the parking lot? Was I correct on that?
Yes, I did include that.
I might suggest at least that you might talk to some people that are more involved in fishing than I am, not a fisherman, in terms of the kind of long-term continuity, prey-predator relationships and things like that, that might involve to make sure that's be a wise thing to do.
I will say it doesn't prohibit the lake committee from sponsoring fish stocking.
I'm just I just saying I could pull it out if you felt like it was that important. Lake committee can come up with the $4,500.
Anybody else?
I'm looking away to get our parking lot paid.
Tom?
Excuse me, Tom Novak, 25 Mill Springs. What was brought up earlier was this discussion about a mural, and there was a survey done of people who had opinions about the mural. This would be the mural on this Siltation's new structure. I guess one thing that in the back of my mind jumped in is I know a lot of people, probably illegally, or maybe not illegally, walk across the dam or jog across the dam. And I know that the dam has signs that say no parking. I'm just wondering, has it been considered the possible distraction those murals might make on drivers and how that would affect the community members who walk or jog across the dam? I mean, right now, I pass that area and I don't notice it because it completely blends in. And to me, it looks appealing. I'm just concerned about the possible distraction to the drivers for the community members who are walking, and also the distraction it might be and the violation it would be that people would want to park on the dam to get a better view of the murals. I don't know if the officer here has any experience how the existing murals, especially those grain towers, have they been distractful to the drivers, or has there been any issues regarding parking?
Can I respond?
Go ahead.
I think just driving across that dam, the lake itself, and any activity that is going on the lake can be a similar distraction. I don't think having a mural is an excuse for distracted driving.
I guess if you have looked at the murals, I've looked at the silos, and the silos are very attractive. And I've looked at the ones, for example, that are in Fillmore, and I think they're totally distracting. And the same thing, the ones that's in our Greencastle on the north side of Banner Graphics. That is very distracting. I don't know if the officer has any experience.
I haven't heard of any distracted driving. These get people killed every day. And I haven't heard of a single mural, but I will ask the Greencastle City Chief and add it to the next meeting for sure if that's a concern, but I haven't heard of any. He's been on the radio longer than me. Did you ever hear of any?
No, have not.
If you ask me, may I give you my email address?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Seth?
You said earlier if we could show you, this is back to the roof situation, if I could show you an old plot plan that showed that that was 30 feet from the house originally, which is on the original plot plan, and that's what I presented at the A&E meeting, was Penn Turf's original drawing. It shows that shoreline 30 feet from that whole deck. It didn't get approved because he said that in Jake Mawson said that didn't matter, that it was drawn up like that. And
That's
then-
between you and the A&E committee. If you want to reverse the need for a variance, go to the meeting.
Okay, if there's a plot plan that shows it's 30 feet from it, do they have the right to deny it, doesn't matter what the plot plan shows?
No, if you can prove to them that you don't need a variance by your paperwork, the A&E committee would approve your plans.
Gotcha, I'm just getting out all the questions here, because on the original plot plan, it does, David Center for what drew up that it was 30 feet.
Was that submitted?
It was.
And but there was no roof on those plans?
Yeah, but that didn't change, the structure was already there, the deck was already existing.
My point is, the variance has been given.
I'm just questioning it, because you said.
I want you to understand what I'm saying.
Okay,
The variance has been approved by the board.
Right.
For the roof that was not on the original plans.
Right.
The original plans were approved by the A&E committee. The board's not even involved in that.
Okay.
The reason the board's involved is because there had to be a variance with this new roof structure.
Right.
If you can go back to the A&E committee and prove to the A&E committee that this roof is not in violation of any rules, you don't need a variance. Then you can start work next week.
but they have, it doesn't matter if it says right on the drawing that it's 30 feet, they can deny it, even though that's within the rules. Because it did say on the original drawing, and we got denied, even though it showed 30 feet. It showed on, a legal survey.
You're
that
telling
was
me
30
two
feet.
different things. You're telling me the roof wasn't on the original plans, but it was shown 30 feet. How can something that's not on the plans be shown
There was
30
an
feet?
existing deck that it's built directly onto.
Okay,
That's on the original
all right.
plans.
If you want to get rid of the variance,
I
go to
was-
the A&E committee.
The
Okay?
A&E committee is who you have to convince. I mean, we don't have any
Are they allowed to
authority,
legally
we don't
turn-
have any authority to.
Right, are
to-
they allowed to legally turn you down even if the plot plan says 30 feet right on it?
If they come to us and say, we're denying this, we feel it is a variance, then we
Okay.
honor that and vote on it.
I'm just trying to get to all the
Yeah.
rules in
Yeah.
hand before, I get it, it's just, he said something about if you can prove, because we moved the.
And there's
shoreline.
another, and the next A&E meeting is Thursday night.
Yeah,
Okay, I told you we moved the original shoreline, and I can't really prove that, but the original plot plan does show it 30 feet, so.
well,
but the
I'd
original-
take that to the A&E committee. That's what I'd do.
I did already, and they kind of crapped on it.
Well,
For no, kind of, in my opinion, probably because I started the roof before I should have. So,
That may have.
We shouldn't probably go into probables.
yes, all I'm saying is technically it was within the rules off of the original plan.
Anybody else? Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
How's it going?
All right, we have an exec meeting.